I repeat, this is research vessel Eurotas. Identification number Delta Lima Papa 129 Alpha. Over. This is research vessel Eurotas. Edis, do you copy? Over. Come on.
Still no response from the base AI? Guess the reports were right.
Okay, no AI, no auto-landing. We're going in manually.
You got it. Just hold on to your lunch. Bring it in, Hugh.
Send control your way.
I don't think I'm the only one who finds the conversation and the idea of AI fascinating. I'm not talking about the AI slop generators that are currently doing the rounds. I'm talking about actual intelligence. I mean, back when we didn't really know much about the human brain, we always thought that human personality, traits, preferences, emotions, fear, love, all that kind of stuff, we always thought that was housed in this soul we've got in our body. Now, I don't believe that. I don't believe in souls. I don't believe in religion. I believe that our soul, our personality, everything we are, everything we're going to be, everything we have been, our memories, the whole thing is housed within our brain. And that makes it even more incredible to me to know that all this amazing stuff, all the memories of my childhood, all the different smells that I recognize they're all just housed within this organic wet ball of neurons and synapses and chemical signatures. It's all just in there. So there are plenty of reviews out for Pragmata at the moment, and so I'm going to do what I usually do. I'm going to think a bit too much about things because that's just what I do. And I've always found the idea fascinating that if we could create a human mind but build it out of something that isn't organic, so not flesh and blood and sinew and bone, but actually out of synthetic material, but make it as complicated and work in exactly the same way as a human mind would. But it wouldn't break down, it wouldn't die, it wouldn't wear away, it would just be. If it could act, if it could remember, if it could generate emotions, preferences, habits, instinct, to feel love and hate and fear, if this thing could do all of them things, would it be alive? So yes, of course I'm talking about Pragmata, the new release from Capcom. And let's just see what this Steam page says, and then we can kind of use that as a reference point. Pragmata is a unique sci-fi action-adventure game from Capcom. Follow Hugh, a member of the ill-fated investigation team, and Diana, a young android, as they navigate a lunar facility taken over by a rogue AI in search of a way to Earth. So on paper, there's nothing here that hasn't been done before, both in terms of film, in terms of comics, in terms of games. It's all been done before, and I can think of 1,000 different reference points to an AI taking over a facility and then running amok. So I think this game's going to succeed in its execution, isn't it? In the way it does things, not the actual idea behind it. And I'm really happy to say that I think it does succeed. This is a brand new IP from Capcom, so I have to give them a pat on the back for that, because these days brand new unique IPs are far and few between. Everyone seems to be taking that really safe route of either remaking something or just generating another game in a series. So any new ideas for me are a win.
You really can make everything with lunafilament, huh?
They don't have it on Earth?
Nah, testing's been limited to the moon as far as I know. People back home have only heard about stuff like this.
Does that mean there are no Pragmata?
No clue. But I've sure as heck never seen a bot that needs as much watching as you do.
Is that a bad thing?
Nah, you keep things interesting. That's good.
So in this game you play as Hugh. He is a technician, he's part of a crew, and they are heading towards this big massive moon base called the Cradle. It's kind of like a massive 3D printer on steroids, and they've developed this technology based on lunar material, and it can make this lunar filament, which then can make pretty much anything from the smallest, tiniest little intricate tools to massive, great big structures, and even huge entire cities.
Whoa.
Wow!
Would you look at that? Looks a bit like New York.
New York? Is that a place on Earth?
Yeah, in America.
So many lights and signs. I can't decide what to look at first.
The opening cutscene I found to be very impressive. There's loads of attention to detail, and it's clear from the off that this game is going to impress visually as well as design wise. They really have put a lot of effort into how the levels look, the cinematography, and the characters, how they move, animation. The whole thing is looking really good. I was also very impressed on how fast the game starts to get going. So within a few minutes you've entered the base and it's clear things aren't quite right and things happen. I won't spoil exactly what happens, but basically his team are incapacitated and you end up at the bottom of like a drop and you're knocked out. Your suit is damaged and it gets repaired by the other character in the game, and that is Diana. Diana is a childlike AI that is housed within this childlike body, and you meet her as she repairs your suit, which then gives your suit the ability to then self-repair you inside, like saving your life basically. And yeah, you wake up and you meet Diana.
Integrating lunar filament nanoweaves. Suit integrity stabilizing. Suit integrity restored. Biomedical diagnostics online. Administering cellular repair.
There you are. All better.
You patched me up? Can't believe someone brought their kid out here.
So no story spoilers, but basically Diana is an AI, but she is housed in a childlike body, and for all intensive purposes looks human, looks like a human child. She also acts like a human child. She's inquisitive, she's full of energy, she's constantly asking questions. And after Hugh wakes up, he takes a few minutes to cotton on to the idea that she isn't a human child. At first he thinks some technician has brought his kid to the moon, but then obviously very soon after that he realizes she can do things like hack into systems, and they form this partnership. She kind of sits on his back and he's obviously like in a big massive suit so he can carry her around without any kind of impediment, and yeah, they form this team.
Lockdown disengaged. Reconnecting primary power. Energy levels at 30%. 40%. 50%. 60%.
Warning. Unauthorized access detected. Severing primary connection. This is Edis. Unregistered guests are forbidden from this area. Initializing sector guard protocol. Scanning. Targets identified. Neutralizing threats.
So in terms of gameplay, a lot of this is just conventional stuff. You move around a 3D environment, you've got a jump, you've got a boost forward, you've got a hover, you can clamber up things and mantle certain things at certain heights, and the shooting, I have to say, is run-of-the-mill. It's, you got your like standard shotty, it's given a different name, but it's basically a shotgun. You've got your standard weapon which refills over time. You've got things like grenade launchers, you've got things like rail cannons, You've got like a distraction gun using like a holograph. It's pretty cool. But all of this would be pretty much run of the mill if it wasn't for the hacking mechanic, which is where this game really, really excels. So let's see if I can describe this. So every time you approach an enemy, you hold a certain button and this hacking mechanic opens up and time slows down. You have a certain amount of time to guide your pointer through like a grid and get the pointer to the green node. And then once you've done that, the hack is complete. Now, there are certain blocks that do certain things. So if you drag the path, the chain through that block before it gets to the end of the chain onto the green node, then it will do certain things, like a blue icon will open up the vulnerable points on an enemy. For example, that's the most common one. There's also other nodes which you can unlock or get over time. Like one might add like a finishing move, which is very cool. Where one might slow down enemies, one might make them more susceptible to damage. There's multi-hacks, so it'll hack all of the enemies around them, that kind of thing. So in addition to weapons and hacking, you've also got this ability called Overdrive, where Diana builds up this resource over time. Once it's full, she can activate it with X on keyboard, and it basically hacks the entire room, does loads of damage, and leaves everything vulnerable. It's like a win button, and is really handy, and a very cool animation as well. So one thing I like about Pragmata is the gameplay loop. So what you'll do is you'll go into a new area and you'll work your way through fighting enemies, gathering resources and getting collectibles. At certain sections in them levels, you'll gain these save points where you can go back to what's called the shelter. Now the shelter is like a safe space. You can upgrade your weapons, upgrade you and Diana, and spend all the resources you've gathered. There's loads of other things you can do, and there's this guy called Cabby or Cab, and he basically is like an iPad with legs and arms. I think this is where the game really reminded me of Death Stranding in a way, because it has that playful, whimsical element to it, a bit like Hideo Kojima's way of approaching game design. So, for example, as you're walking around, you find these unlocks for the shelter, and they will create these like diorama situations where you've got like pencils and crayons, or a basketball court, or a skateboard and stuff. And it's very self-indulgent because it's the kind of thing that you would have for a young kid to play with, but why would they have this on the moon, and why would they have all this like perfect situation to keep Diana occupied? So it is a bit far-fetched, but it kind of fits with the game, doesn't it? Because you're looking after this AI kid and it lets her go off and play, and it kind of like shows off that idea that you are looking after a child.
Look! What's this?
That's the Earth. The blue part there is all ocean. Look outside and you can see it from here.
That's weird. Only got half of it here.
Ah, okay. The printer's busted. But the data here looks alright.
The ocean. Water everywhere.
Kinda hard to appreciate when it's just the half. Listen, we get back to the shelter, I'll whip you up a new one.
Really? I want to see.
Aside from the combat, the hacking, the general progression, the levels, I think one of the most talked about and enjoyable parts about the game is the fact that these are new characters, we've never seen them before, and the relationship between Hugh and Diana is very endearing. It's a very, very good story. It's a story that's been told through the ages about a person, an adult, looking after a child, taking on responsibility, making sure they're safe, feeling like they're responsible for the safety of that child. And obviously Diana isn't a biological child, but I think for all intensive purposes for this story, we can treat her as such. She exhibits intelligence, she's a sentient life form. She's not made from flesh and bone, but she is a consciousness. And so very soon after meeting, Hugh becomes very paternal over her. He feels like he's responsible for her and keeping her safe. And yeah, it's a really enjoyable story. I like the way that she's asking questions like normal kids do. I personally have children, and this is what kids do. They ask you questions, and it feels good to answer them, like to teach the kid what the world's all about moral questions. And Hugh takes on that role really well. Even when the game first opens, somebody asks him if he's got kids, and he says no, and it kind of indicates he's not really a child person. So it's very interesting to see him very quickly be thrust into a situation where he's in charge of a child, and I think he does really well. He starts to like explain things and look after her and just generally look out for her well-being.
What are you doing? Are you trying to hurt yourself?
If I break, you can just fix me back up.
That's not the point. You have to be more careful. If something happened to you, I'd be in real trouble.
In real trouble? Why?
I mean, well, you best think on that yourself.
Okay, I will.
Well, we got cats. Where are all the people?
So like I've said, this is a very wholesome story about a man who is protecting what he sees as a child. And yet, obviously, these days, the internet being what it is, we can't have nice things, can we? There's a very small section of the internet that has found a way to make this not what it is. I'm not going to say the words, you know what I'm talking about. And there are a very small amount of people out there that have been making images and content based on Diana that are not what the game intends. And based on that and some other very strange ideas, some content creators have suggested that anybody who plays this game who isn't an actual parent and is enjoying the content and the relationship between Diana and Hugh is some type of predator. What the fuck, guys? Like, if you've watched this game or listened to the content and listened to the story, and if that is where your brain has ended up, I genuinely think you need some help and maybe take a look at your life choices, because that is not what this game is. There is nothing in this game to suggest that. But yeah, I'll leave that one there. So, in terms of how does the game look, the game is gorgeous, stunning, there's loads of effects, I love the animations on all the characters, the enemies all look great, they've all got really good vulnerable points on them as well, so it's very easy to distinguish where you should shoot and where you shouldn't shoot. The hacking effect is also very well done. I think that had to be kind of simple, but at the same time very impactful, and they've done a really good job with that. And they've also used the theme of the game in a really interesting way. So, like most games that end up in space or a space station, you end up with different like versions of neon or whatever, and it gets a bit samey, doesn't it? Now in this game, they've actually used the idea of the lunar filament to create these different environments within the moon base. So like one level you're in like a rendition of New York. In another level, you might see like foliage and creatures running around and trees. They've done a really excellent job with the design of the game, and it definitely adds to the enjoyment factor. In terms of how the game runs, I play at 1440p, and I would recommend anyone who has got anything less than a stellar PC to run at 1440p on a monitor. It's just that 4K, it does look better technically, but the sacrifice in performance, you lose so much performance going from 1440p to 4K. So I would always recommend 1440p. I have a 3080 Ti, I have 32 gig of RAM, and I've got a 9th generation Intel chip. And with all that, I managed to get really good frame rates, most things on maximum, and I've even managed to have the path tracing working as well. Now some people have said they actually prefer the game with path tracing off, and I can kind of see what they're saying. Like the levels look a little bit more authentic when you don't have that on. But this game is just begging to be, I think, have the path tracing on. You've got so many reflections, the puddles, the neon. When you're looking through windows, you can see your reflection. And I personally think if you've got ray tracing on and path tracing, I think the game looks the best in that version. But again, it's going to be down to preference, really. So as you'll all know, Capcom have been very busy this last couple of years, and especially this year, they've got a lot of games coming out. Now, I personally, as a PC gamer, have a massive issue with Capcom the way they handled Monster Hunter Wilds. I just thought that game was an absolute disaster. Both in terms of design, it was a massive step back, I think, from the previous game. And also, obviously, the performance was absolutely abysmal on PC. So for me personally, Capcom have still got a lot of making up to do. But you can't take it away from them. They are absolutely cooking at the moment. They've got loads of games coming out. They've got the new Resident Evil game. They've got this. And yeah, I think this is a massive win for Capcom. The PC version has turned out really well, and I've not had one single crash. So I'm really impressed with this version. So I think I'm going to wrap it up soon, guys. That's my review for Pragmata. I'm very impressed with the game. I like the characters. I love the dynamic between the two main characters. The combat fused with the new hacking mechanic works really well and makes the game in terms of actual gameplay. I like the shelter idea as well. It just added another layer to the gameplay. And yeah, I'm really impressed. I would highly recommend the game on PC. I just want to say as well to everyone who's listening still, I really appreciate all the comments, the feedback and the support on my previous video on Crimson Desert. That video for me personally is the best video I've done so far, and it's had loads of engagement, so I'm really happy about that. Thank you very much if you're subscribed, and if you're not, please do so. Also, if you've watched a few of my videos now, you'll know what I love the most is engagement. I love to open a conversation, so yeah, please feel free to fire away in the comments. And yeah, let's have a chat. I'm hoping to get another video out in the next week, so please stay tuned for that, and I'll see you all there. Alright guys, take care. Thanks very much. Bye bye.
Hugh, thanks for talking to me all the time. Ta-da!
Is this supposed to be when we first boarded the tram?
Uh-huh. I drew it. It's for you.
Look at that.